54, 53, 52, 51, 40, 49, 48. My, how time flies.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Thanks for joining me this afternoon. I've got a great stream with some great guests that I think you're really going to enjoy.
Great guests. Okay, guy.
I've had the pleasure of interviewing both of these men.
Pleasure. Imagine feeling a pleasure from interviewing Dugin. Surreal that something like this now exists outside of the daydreams of terminally online. Nightmare blunt rotation. Wow. Okay. Who's Nick Land? Hold on. The quill illustrator. Okay.
Previously, Alexander Dugin and Nick Land. I think both are critical thinkers in our world today. Some of the few people doing very interesting philosophy, and I'm excited to have both of them on for the discussion. God. So, Nick and Professor Dugin, thank you so much for coming on.
Great to be here with you both. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So we're going to get deep into this, guys. There's so much to talk about. I think we're going to talk about accelerationism, angels, the possibility of liberalism, an extension of the Anglo way of being. But before we get to all of that, we need to hear from today's sponsor. Everyone knows that college.
So Dugin is an esoteric lunatic, and it seems like Nick Land is an esoteric lunatic as well. So it's a debate of lunatics. Perfect. Nick Land, philosopher best known for popularizing the ideology of accelerationism. His work has been tied to development of speculative realism and departs from the formal conventions of academic writing, incorporating unorthodox and esoteric influences. Yeah, critical thinker. Critical thinker indeed. Well, we'll see. I'm curious as to what this debate is all about, of course, but this is where we are now.
Which is a major investment, so it's really important to do your research. You want to find a school that shares your values, but who has the time to dig through all those college websites? Well, today I've got great news for you. There's a free, easy-to-use resource that does the work for you.
Is it Ground News?
Called Christian College Guide.
What? It's called what?
.com. This online directory of over 250 Christian colleges and universities is a one-stop shop. ChristianCollegeGuide.com lists all the basics such as acceptance rates, tuition costs, and academic majors. But here's what makes this
why would I want to go to a Christian college ever?
Resource truly special. ChristianCollegeGuide.com will show you the school's faith commitments, its campus policies, and its spiritual life. All the
yes. The most important things for a college to have: faith commitments, spiritual life, and all that other crap that is completely unimportant for education. Thank you. Thank you.
The info that you will need to find the college you can trust. This is the definitive college guide.
You know what? A Christian college is the last college in the world that I would ever trust. Okay?
Guide for Christian higher education, and it's completely.
What the hell is Christian higher education? The hell is that? Like, I can understand. Like, I could understand it if I don't know, if it would be like there's a focus on theology or the history of religion or stuff like that. But this is just a bunch of nonsense. Okay.
Free. So if you or someone you know is considering college, go to ChristianCollegeGuide.com to create a free user profile and start today. It's Christian College Guide.
Why would I ever consider a Christian college? Such a waste of time.
.com. All right, guys, before we get started, I just want to remind the listeners that this is a pre-recorded episode. Obviously, I've got to coordinate this across literally the entire globe so we can have this discussion. So we had to do it at a weird time. So unfortunately, we will not be able to take any questions at the end. So, gentlemen, I'm just going to kind of try to guide this discussion. Obviously, mainly want to hear from the two of you. So I'll just have some prompting questions, but feel free to step in, ask questions, interact. This is by no means some kind of formal debate or anything of that nature. But I'll just open with, I think, what is probably a easy common area of agreement and see kind of where the conversation develops from there. So I think both of you have discussed liberalism as an outgrowth of kind of the Anglo way of being, as a specific strain of this cultural development that has grown into a more global
Anglo way of being. Interesting. I will want an elaboration on that. An Anglo way of being, whatever the hell that means. This is very interesting because I might be able to add a few things on my end of the... Okay, I'm gonna be back. I'll have to go to the toilet. Oh yeah, I might as well. Since I'm doing a crazy thing, I might as well. You don't have... Never apologize for falling asleep. You need your sleep. Well, since I'm gonna advertise myself on the President Sunday thing. Yes, do not apologize to me for falling asleep. Hold on. There's the President Sunday. Everyone, we doing Dugin. Sounds very weird. Okay, I'll be right back. Toilet time. I'll be right back for more Dugin. All right, I'm back. Let's watch some Dugin. What a pleasant time.
Ideology. In some ways, some people might think that's good. Some people might think that is deleterious. But maybe we can just open up with this basic idea. Mr. Land, can you talk a little bit about liberalism as
yes,
its Anglo roots and what it's kind of become as it's been abstracted out of that particular way of being?
Well, the first thing I'd start with a point of agreement in the sense that I think...
I read who he is. This is a Ukraine stream. Yes, I am in Ukraine. This is why my audio is so bad. And this is why Moho, you came here when I've stopped playing Final Fantasy Tactics. I've been playing Final Fantasy Tactics, the new one on Steam, for 4 hours now, and you've missed it. We could have had so much fun with Final Fantasy Tactics, and you've missed it. And yes, this is a Ukraine stream. I'm in Kyiv right now. I've underwent some bombing lately.
What we call liberalism now as this globalist, universalist, moralistic monster is obvious.
What? Am I going to hear all these slogans, or am I going to hear anything specific? This moralistic, globalistic monster. Okay, moralistic monster, whatever that means. As you can see, this is a debate between two lunatics. No ifs and buts about it.
The
critical thinkers, TM.
The greatest problem in the world. And the greatest monster is obviously the greatest problem in the world.
Yeah, human rights, as we all know, is the biggest problem in the world that we have today.
And so that's something I'm entirely confident about. Where I think that I will probably be disagreeing is that I don't think that this historical outcome is something that's strictly inherent to liberalism. And I think there is a defensible notion of liberalism, paleo-liberalism, that can be essentially defined in a way that is very, very different to what it has predominantly, the things that have predominantly happened in its name. And I mean, I have a little...
You haven't said what it is. You haven't said what it's done in its name. And you haven't said what your acceptable version of it does differently. So, in other words, you have said nothing. You have said a lot of things, but you have also said absolutely nothing. Maybe you'll say something during the debate proper. We'll see. I feel like anti-humanist views are on the rise compared to like 10 years ago. Oh no, this guy has been around for a long time. This guy has been around the block. This guy has been spouting this crap for a long time. Same for Dugin. Imagine using the word moralistic while being moralistic. I feel like you can only really use that word if you don't care about politics or are like a moral nihilist or something. Oh yeah, this guy is definitely not a moral nihilist. This guy basically believes that a proper, correct form of morality exists and that it requires embracing more unorthodox, esoteric ideas. Go away from traditional academia and to embrace new unorthodox methods. So this person is definitely not a nihilist.
Spiel on that, but I think maybe I should sort of pause and hesitate and allow.
But I would like to know, I'm not familiar with this guy, so I would like to know what his spiel is, but I'm just hearing a lot of very vague slogans, and that's a problem because I'm not going to be able to say much from vague slogans. I feel like liberalism is bad, it's a problem, moralistic problem, but I have a version of it that is acceptable, and it does different from the version that is unacceptable. Oh, okay, good. You sure enlightened me.
So the counter position to be stated first.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Dugin, do you believe that there is a version of liberalism that can be healthy, that can be operated?
Yes, we lock all people in the gulag. That is the healthy version of liberalism, I guess. Remember, Dugin believes that human rights is some sort of a scourge on earth. He believes that human rights is a harmful ideology. Just keep that in mind when you listen to Dugin speak.
In the service of the people it was meant to serve, or do you think?
What do you mean, service of the people?
Having said that, just one thing, just to say that it can be healthy for the English people. I mean,
why for the English people in particular? Why?
So I totally am not making a claim that even in the most stripped down paleo form, this is something that is the basis for a global ideology.
Sure.
That is not at all my claim, and that rather is a point of disagreement. So yeah, sorry.
So
this is stupid. Oh yeah, this ideology only serves the English people.
We could touch the subject from different angles. First of all, reject human rights because this is a nonsensical notion. Let's read the chat. The English. Incub says, Dugin got tired of talking about human rights. Now he wants to talk about human wrongs. True. Well, I fully agree that liberalism is Anglo-Saxon phenomenon. So we need to make a kind of genealogy of liberalism because it started from Britain, and
it started. If something started in Britain, then it means that it's inherently tied to an ethnic group, because that makes perfect sense. Anglo-Saxon ideology. This is what we're dealing with. This is exactly what we are dealing with. Oh yeah, Alexander Dugin actually is a fascist, by the way, just so you know.
I don't think that always Britain was liberal. So that was a kind of some historical moment.
Yes. Before liberalism became a thing, countries were not liberal. Thank you, Dugin. That was brilliant. Did you know that before monarchies were a thing, places were not monarchies?
When British people...
We can look at the history of liberalism. Liberalism, a wiki. Origins. Liberal, liberty, libertarian, and libertine all trace their etymology to liber, a root from Latin that means free. One of the first recorded instances of liberal occurred in 1375, when it was used to describe the liberal arts in the context of an education desirable for a free-born man. The word's early connection with the classical education of a medieval university soon gave way to proliferation of a different denotations and connotations. Liberal could refer to free in bestowing as early as 1387. Made without stint in 1433, freely permitted in 1530, and free from restraint, often as a pejorative remark in the 16th and 17th centuries. In the 16th century Kingdom of England, liberal could have positive or negative attributes. Okay, we're going to have to Google. Where did liberalism originate? History of liberalism. John Locke and Montesquieu. Isolated strands of liberal thought had existed in Eastern philosophy since the Chinese spring and autumn period, and Western philosophy since the ancient Greeks. But the first major signs of liberal politics emerged in modern times. The economist Murray Rothbard claimed that Chinese Taoist philosopher Laozi was the first libertarian. I guess China is England. There you go. That is the takeaway that is my takeaway from all this. China is England.
English people,
Chinese people are Anglo-Saxons is the only takeaway that I can draw from this.
Turned into this ideology, and we did. If we delve a little deeper, we could trace a kind of genealogy of liberalism. And what is liberalism?
What the fuck does that mean? Genealogy of liberalism.
Liberalism is the identification of the human with the individual. That is a kind of absolute individualism that wants to liberate the human being from all kind of collective identity.
That's not true at all, actually. That's not true. Let's see. What is liberal? That's not true. Political doctrine that takes protecting and enhancing the freedom of the individual. Political doctrine that takes protecting and enhancing the freedom of the individual to be central problem of politics. It does not isolate from any sort of collective. That makes no sense.
Personality. So individual is kind of opposite to personality. Individualism is something that you don't share with anybody. So that is true individual to person, human being from all kind of collective identity, from personality.
What do you mean from personality? What does that mean? I mean, it all depends on how you want to define things. It's true, but he is using his own definition of things and then he says that his definition applies universally, which, like technically it was liberal when you had like rebellions that didn't want to get taxed, right? But that like barely conforms to the like modern liberal views. Yeah.
Okay, there's an interference pattern because
we never confess that, but
okay,
enormous power. That's not at all something I'm suggesting, but it has enough.
So that was the
hold on
revolution of secret way between Faust and.
They're both saying that globalized and generalized as a pattern for all human societies. To just stick to the, I'm not
Franciscan, the individual core. So with the individual. And what is liberalism? Make a kind of genealogy of liberalism, because it's British people, English people, they turned into that liberalism is Anglo-Saxon phenomenon. So we need to make a kind of genealogy of liberalism, because it started from Britain. Britain was liberal. So that was a kind of some historical moment into. If we delve a little deeper, we could see. If we delve, and we did. If we delve, and we did. They turned into this.
Okay, let's listen from here.
And we did. If we delve a little deeper, we could trace a kind of genealogy of liberalism. And what is liberalism? Liberalism is the identification of the human with the individual. That is a kind of absolute individualism that wants to liberate the human being from all kind of collective identity, from personality.
So no, that's not true. That's not true at all. Like people, even within the liberal framework, people are still considered part of societies. We live in a society. and all that crap. It's not correct at all.
So individual is kind of opposite to personality. Individualism is something that you don't share with anybody. So that is true individual, the individual core. So you are absolutely yourself and nothing else. So you have you don't share your identity with the class, with the estate, with the church, with the...
That is not true at all. Within the liberal thought, that is absolutely not true. Like if I identify, let's say I do journalist work and I identify with other journalists, am I suddenly not a liberal? That there is no liberal thought in me anymore? There's no liberalism in me anymore because I am an absolute individual and I do not identify with any other journalist. Ultimate individualism.
Race, with the ethnos. So you are absolutely reduced to be what you are and nothing else. So
yeah, people that like that don't exist.
It is
the people like as described by Dugin here do not exist.
Kind of liberation. So
I don't even know what this whole discussion is about.
Individualism and liberalism are very linked, in my opinion, because the liberalism...
Yeah, life is about the relationship between the collective and the individual. Like you cannot run away from that. You have both the individual and you have the collective.
As the kind of project.
And I know that Russia is all about the collective and rejected any sort of individual will. That is why people can be used as pawns, people can be starved by the thousands or by the millions. This is why people can be thrown into meat assaults by the thousands because individuals don't matter. What matters is the collective good of the state. You basically have to be like Buddha to be a liberal by his definition. True.
And his historical project, his scenario, the strategy to liberate individual from any kind of collective identity. And
so no, that is completely nonsensical. There's always an interplay between the individual and the collective.
It started historically not with Anglo-Saxons, that started with nominalism in France, in Rosselin, that started with Franciscan order in Italy, but it has arrived. It has arrived to England.
I know that it's very convenient to say liberalism is when ultimate individualism and not care about collective, because Russia really loves to shit on the individual and not care about the individual, and in fact use the individual as a person that can be discarded, killed, or used in any way, because the collective is what matters.
England with the same Franciscan order, monastic order.
And yes, I'm saying all this about Russia because Alexander Dugin's whole spiel is very tied to how Russia itself is organized and how his philosophy serves the Russian state, which is why he is said to be the little whisper to Vladimir Putin.
Was kind of accepted by the people, by Duns Scott, by...
Also, I have no clue how this whole individualism is exclusive to the Anglo-Saxon and no one else. What about the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, when the individual freedoms of the nobility was paramount? Very important, the golden freedom. Or Polish people, or Ukrainian people, or for that matter, Lithuanians, and all the other people that made up the nobility of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, are they all Anglo-Saxons? Is that it?
Occam, Franciscans themselves, and that has prepared the earth, the territory, for the appearance of the Protestant anthropology based on the individual relations to God. So that was a kind of process.
Prepare yourselves, because both of these people are ramblers. I have no idea what they will disagree on. I have no idea what they will be even debating. But as you can see, this is just rambling. This is just rambling. But you know what? Maybe we'll get some entertainment value out of this. Maybe we will be
process of some very special development of theology, of Western Christian theology, that has led to this conclusion, to this liberalism. And the metrics of most active development of that was Reformation, the Great Britain during Reformation. And after that, that was, as Mr. Land has described very correctly in his blog, that was a secularization of Protestant.
His blog, of course.
So, of Calvinism.
This is like a What About His video, except you have like 3 of them in a single call. Well, the problem is that Dugin has a lot more influence than What About His. That is the problem. Dugin is a lunatic that has a lot more influence than someone of like What About His. Alexander Dugin's favorite film is Spy Kids 2. Did you know that, Lucy? He considered it the peak of cinema. Is this a joke, or is this a joke, or is this real? Is that real? Is Dugin's favorite movie actually Spy Kids 2, or is this like a meme joke? No joke. Brooks talked to Sunday about it at one point. Oh my god, this cannot be real. I feel sorry for the creators of Spy Kids 2 because, you know, I haven't seen it. It's probably a fun movie, but imagine if your fun little movie is beloved by a fascist. Imagine that happening. Oh, hold on. I think we got a donation. Fake Alec Cal Parker has donated $5. I know a karate move that can kill a man in one move. You just need years of discipline, training, and a Glock. Thank you for the $5. Fake Alec Cal Parker, please consider donating directly to my phone, to the microphone, so that I can have better audio. All of you, please consider going to my phone. Fake Alec Cal Parker, can you link my phone with the... We have 30% of the microphone already sort of, you know. So if we can get the microphone, then I can have good audio while I'm in Ukraine. Please. Please, 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 thank you. Please, thank you very much. Spy Kids too.
Protestantism. So that was, after that was the kind of capitalistic secularization of the same individualism. First religious and theological, and after that secular. So capitalism, according to Max Weber, and according to your analysis as well, was as well a kind of application of this theological, anthropological rule to the whole system of the society, of economy. So in that sense, it is a bit pre-Anglo-Saxon, because before this domination of empirical nominalist attitude, the English theology was different. Anselm of Canterbury and the other. You had many Platonists.
I know. English theology was built around the idea that a English king could not divorce, and therefore he created his own religion in which he could. TLDR. I'm giving you a TLDR of the British theology.
Aristotelians and different kind. Nominalism is something different because according to Plato...
You don't know the link? Hold on, I'll link it to you, and I'll link it to you on the Discord, okay? Which is crazy to me because I actually take the link from you. Okay, I'm getting the link now. Sorry, somebody wrote to me. Where's the link? I have it somewhere. Like, I'm getting it from our chat, fake Alec Cal Parker, okay? I'm literally getting the phone link from our chat. Copy link. Here, I have to log in. Don't be lazy. Jesus Christ. So yes, consider boom, because we need to have better audio, okay? Boom. All right, here you go. We've done it.
Plato, according to Aristotle, the man is something more, much more than individual. So only to individualistic nominalist, Roscelin Occam version, the human being is individual. So that they didn't start with Anglo-Saxons, but that has flourished thanks to Anglo-Saxon tradition. And that was a kind that became, at the same time, a feature of the Anglo-Saxon identity, as well projected on the United.
Wait, so the aspect of the Anglo-Saxon identity is that they're hyper-individuals that want to divorce themselves from anything that's collective. So, in other words, Anglo-Saxons cannot form societies because forming societies actually definitionally demands that you embrace the collective to a certain degree, even minimal degree. So I guess the Anglo-Saxons are just physically incapable of forming societies as part of their identity because they're hyper-individuals that want to divorce themselves and they only exist as what they are. They do not identify with anything, class, race, anything. They just are. They just are in a vacuum as individuals. There you go. This is such rambling. This is such. But remember, Alexander Dugin is an actual fascist, an actual honest-to-God fascist with his whole ideas. The sea empire, the land empire, the moon and the sun, and all that crap. He is actually insane.
United States as well, but at the same time, step by step, it became a kind of global universal pattern. Recently, because continental French, German tradition fought against this until recently. So now it is a kind of universal global norm. A kind of, so if the man is individual, and that is out of the discussion. So, and when this
Nick Land too. Nick Land is also a rambler and is also insane. It's just we've heard his intro and I've read it. I've read up about him a bit. Yes, but definitely both these individuals are insane. So I'm just wondering, what will they disagree on? What is the thing that they're actually going to be disagreeing on? Oh, you've sent money to the throne? Let me see. Thank you very much, Maya Mayor. Thank you. You're the best. Let me see how far we are. The throne room. 34! We are 34% in. Thank you very much. Who is the newest contributor? Let me see, okay? How do I even check? The throne is... Hold on. I'm gonna go to the throne app and check everything. 34. How do I check contributors? Have you left me a message? Lucy must walk better. Is that you? Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. 37? We now have 37. We're now 37 in. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Pingus Master. Thank you. With your help, we will have better audio. Land looks like one of the aliens from Dark City. Thank you. That is true. Oh my God, he does. They're both insane. They're both insane people. So I'm watching this because I really want to know what these two fascinating individuals will actually disagree on. Because he's nodding. He's agreeing. So what is the debate? What is even the debate between these two?
Saxon philosophical concept.
Like they all believe in the same bullshit. So what are they gonna argue about? And Doogie looks like like a contestant in Professor or a Hobo. Is that a real thing? Is that a real contest? Professor or a hobo? Oh my goodness.
Became universal one. There will be
Professor Hobo. Listen, my grandfather was a professor and he did not look like this, okay? My grandfather, who was a professor for his whole life, did not look like this. And it was a very distinguished professor, so Professor or Hobo.
Included in it became open as well. So now, if we compare the old English high style, very ethnically limited understanding, exclusive aristocratic understanding of liberalism.
Well, listen, wait, but liberalism isolates you from class. And aristocracy is a class. And also, guessing this will be like fascism improv. Yes, and oh no. Moho says, when are you becoming a professor, Dr. Lucy? I plead the fifth, okay? I plead the fifth and will refrain from answering this question.
If we compare that with this globalist, very vulgar, so mass version of liberalism, we could have a shock, because comparing this paradigm that was ethnically marked with the process of globalization, of massification, first of all in the United States, it gives the very special image of all that. So that is the kind of terminal station. So you started with something more or less noble, more or less interesting, stylish, I would say, and you have arrived.
Why did my computer just freeze, first of all? And second of all, what does any of that mean? Stylish?
To some.
You cannot just spout gibberish. You have to say, why is it noble? What's so good about it? And all that, right? You have to give me a bit more than that. What was good? Why is it not good anymore? Are you saying that at some point the idea of being a super individual that exists in a vacuum within individualism was noble and good, and then it just became bad?
Parody to something that is totally abhorrent. So in that sense, I could agree with Mr. Land's concept that there is different phases. If we compare them, so we see the huge
presupposers are going to presuppose. True.
Difference, the abyss between them, because a gentleman, British gentleman, proposing himself as individual and something totally independent is one thing. You can find very literary good.
Wait, but that's a contradictory statement. If you're a British gentleman and you consider yourself totally individual in the liberalist sense that you're independent of anything, then there's already a contradiction there. Because how can you identify as a British gentleman, somebody that identifies as part of a group, a collective even of British gentlemen, but at the same time be a hyper-individualist in the liberalist sense that believes that does not identify with any collective? Did you know that the group called Gentlemen is a collective? Did you know that? This already falls apart logically, doesn't it? At least according to how Dugin defines it. It just falls apart. It makes no sense, wouldn't you say?
Examples of how it works. So that is something very.
But being a gentleman is a collective identifier. I'm one of the gentlemen.
High and stylish. So you could bear your identity as English man did in the history and the culture, and now
that's also collective. An Englishman. Identifying as an Englishman is identifying as a part of the collective of Englishmen.
When we distribute that among all the population, that is a parody. That is something extremely
But he said that liberalism is being a hyper-individual that does not identify with any of the collective, including being an Englishman or a gentleman. No?
That's horrible. That is.
This is rambling. I'm not sure how much of this we'll be able to, stomach, but we're having fun right now, right? Are we having fun? Are you all having fun yet with this? Oh, the computer froze. Maybe one day I'll be able to buy a better laptop.
That inspires the kind of the sense of.
Oh, just so you know, just to explain to you, I have the chat on the phone. I have only one screen on the laptop, so whenever I'm looking at the phone, I'm actually not looking at some nonsense. I'm actually looking and reading the chat, believe it or not.
We deal with something shameful, with something completely opposite to the beauty, to the dignity. So
I have no idea what any of this is supposed to mean.
Among everybody.
I have no idea what any of this is supposed to mean. This is ugly, and it's the opposite of beauty. This is just nonsensical gibberish. Do I have to read 15 Dugin books to actually understand what he is trying to say here? Do I have to go deep into the writings of a fascist in order to understand the complexities of his thought.
Else. And being localized, this individualistic attitude being put in the normal limits, it could be very sympathetic.
What the hell is normal limits? As opposed to what? Abnormal limits? No limits? What is, in this context, what would constitute normal limits? And what is the dividing line between normal limits and abnormal limits? Moho says you'll understand it after you watch a Jordan Peterson lecture, Lucy. You should link it. You should link the particular lecture that I should watch.
And attractive, but projected on the global level, it seems horrible.
For sure. I think maybe we'll get onto the whole globalized side of it for sure. And it's where everyone here is beginning in terms of the problems that they're facing and contemporary politics. I mean, there's two immediate responses that I would make to what you've just said. One, very quick, which is just to say, at the anthropological level, I think one of the most fascinating and persuasive bases for this I've ever seen is the work of Emmanuel Todd on family structure, where he has different family categories and says that the basic ideological tendencies of different people.
I would like to just add from myself that you're doing a very, very weird essentialist thing. Oh, this culture is just essentially part of the Anglo-Saxons.
Very explicable on the basis of their kind of normal family type. And one of his family types is what he,
in a Petersonian sense, this all makes sense,
calls the absolute nuclear family. And it's very restricted. It's basically English and Dutch.
Okay, what is the non-absolute nuclear family? If there's an absolute nuclear family, then what the hell is a non-absolute nuclear family? So what?
And he says that this is associated culturally with tendencies to liberalism in what we would now call its libertarian variety. So I think, I'm saying this just to say I think people are different. And just underscoring this thing that this
okay, there's a lot of rambling here. There's a lot of rambling.
Is, I think, an English problem initially. And it becomes a completely other type of problem when it becomes globalized and generalized as a pattern for all human societies. Just to stick to I'm not saying Emmanuel Todd is the alpha and omega of this question at all, but he brings out the absurdity of that globalistic project.
What is the absurdity? Like, you haven't said anything. You haven't pointed out any absurdity in the globalist project. You have not said anything of substance. I've been listening for 17 minutes and I still don't know what the absurdity of the globalist project is. Because again, you've said a lot, but you have not really said anything. And it's frustrating.
That it's implicitly saying all the peoples of the world should pattern their social existence as if they had an Anglo-Dutch family structure.
What the fuck is an Anglo-Dutch family structure? What the fuck does that mean? How can you link a family structure to an ethnicity? How do you do that? What is the ethnic nature of a Anglo-Dutch family structure? What are the things that make them specifically Anglo-Dutch? Maya Mayor says, Lucy is not playing Subway Surfer. You mean like Jordan Peterson, where if you don't understand what he's saying, he tells you to read every book he's ever written? Yes. What is an Anglo-Dutch family structure? And what other type of structures do we have? Anglo-Dutch at what time in history? Don't even. Okay? Don't even go there.
I mean, it's ultimately a nonsensical and unsustainable, an absurd assumption. And
I know. You're speaking nonsense. Finally, you said something. Lauren says, I watched some of the footage from Portland People were dancing and skipping and skipping around in inflatable frog unicorn costumes. I was shaken with terror. I have never been so frightened in my life. That is good. That is good because you have a president that will fix that problem, okay? Don't worry. Don't worry. President Trump will send in the National Guard, and soon all the monsters, all the horrible inflated abominations will be gone from the streets, and you will be safe again. Once Trump brings in the military, you will finally be able to rest well at night. So, it's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Donald Trump is going to save America from inflated monsters, which you yourself admitted are roaming the streets. Thankfully, thank God I'm safe. Thank God I'm safe here in Ukraine, huh? Thank God I'm here when it's absolutely safe. Whew. Oh, I would have hated to be in Portland now and not in Kiev. Do the English and the Dutch get along historically? They didn't, right? Of course they did. They created a family structure together. Keep up, okay? They created a whole family structure, which led to the creation of the globalist agenda, which is bad. It used to be noble and good and even stylish, as Dugin said, but now it's evil, globalist, and shit.
An assertion that, seen in those terms, of course, cannot lead anywhere good. And the second thing I'll say is individualism, I think, for sure is crucial. But it has different aspects to it. And I think the aspect that is truly crucial and which ties up with the theological structure of paleoliberalism, which
didn't Dugin say that Ukrainian people are not real? Oh, whatever. Of course you would say that.
I 100% agree, is Protestant. I talk consistently about the Anglo-Protestant Whig tradition, an ethnicity, a religion, and an ideology. And all three of those are the same thing, seen from different positions.
What? No, they're not. They absolutely are. What? They're not. They absolutely are not.
And a way into this, because I think that there's been this bizarre amount of Satanism discussion recently. And so
Has there really been? Wait, has there been a lot of Satanism discussion? Really?
I know this is
ethnicity is religion, is ideology, says secret is and wait, secret Asian. Damn. Thank you.
Text that is very important to Professor Dugin, and which is in Faust, part 1. I think the Faustian spirit is very much part of this discussion, where Faust summons Mephistopheles.
I want to say, this is just fascistic lunacy ramblings, but this guy Dugin has the ear of Vladimir Putin, okay? This is insane. People like this do actually real harm, okay? Like, I can laugh, I can do a little bit of taunting and stuff along these lines, but these people are actual lunatics. Pick your poison, says Maya Mayor. Get bombs dropped on your head in Kiev, or get shot in the face by ICE in American cities. If only we could import ICE into Ukraine, then we'd have the best of both worlds. I could be shot in the face by ICE while being bombed by the Russians. I would have the best of all worlds. Yeah, I know you're not claiming that. I know that you're mocking them. Hail Satan. But I will read what you said anyway. I'm not claiming that. I'm just making it clear what their claims are. It says secret Asian dad. Moldbug has JD Vance's here. True.
Please. And
you know who else has JD Vance's ear? What is his name? Drew something.
Asks him, who are you? And Mephistopheles says, ein Teil von jener Kraft, die stets das Böse will und stets das Gute schafft. A portion of that power which always works for evil and affects the good. This is the translation in English, good, which always wants evil, which always works for evil, and always creates the good. So that's Goethe's. If you say, well, what is Satanism? That's Goethe's answer to that. I think it's very interesting. Mandeville's the consolidation of paleoliberalism in England really takes place in the Scottish Enlightenment. You know,
oh, it's not just the English. It's not just it's all because of those woke Scots. Did you know that Scotland is a lot more progressive than England? It's all of those woke Scots.
Perhaps the single most perfect distillation.
Also remember to press like on the stream.
Of it is found in Mandeville's The Fable of the Bees, which I don't think I can summarize very easily with a quote. I think it's just to say he goes on to influence Adam Smith. And if I could just, a very quick citation from The Wealth of Nations, where Smith says he generally, and he means the individual, it's actually said before every individual, he generally indeed neither intends to promote the public interest, nor knows how much he is promoting it. By preferring the support of domestic that of foreign industry, he intends only his own security, and by directing that industry in such a manner as its produce may be of the greatest value, he intends only his own gain. And he is in this, as in many other cases, led by an invisible hand to promote an end which was no part of his intention. And that to me is the essential ideological aspect.
And this is why Russia should win the war in Ukraine, says Dugin. Because of Satanism and hyper-individualism. Thank you.
Of individualism as it relates to paleoliberalism. That's to say, the fundamental assumption is that there is an empty position, what I call the empty summit, which would be an instantiated public morality. And instead, that function is delegated to the invisible hands. I will insist on pluralizing it. The invisible hands are the key theological and economic, maybe in a sense even ethnic axis on which paleoliberalism determines itself.
Oh my gosh.
And there are huge consequences for that. I mean, maybe you should just at this point just stop there.
There's actually a really good quote. It does imply a nationalistic interest consideration on the part of individuals. Yeah, but that defeats the whole Dugin definition of hyper-individualism, because if you have a national interest, then by definition you identify with a collective, which is the nation.
To say, the Mephistopheles' speech and Adam Smith's statement on the invisible hand are almost identical. They're both saying that the common good is not a deliberate intention at the level of the individual.
Imagine if Dugin and Yarvin digivolved into an even more toxic pseudo-philosopher.
And it creates the good because of a higher power, because of the fact that it's guided by this religious axis, the empty summit, the fact that there is, to some degree at least, massive constriction and delimitation of what would be an authoritative public moral authority. So that, to me, that's what paleoliberalism is. That is not at all what I think we're seeing now among people who call themselves liberals. I should pause it.
Right.
These morons believe in literal demons. Yes. The Ukrainian demons.
Right. Very.
When will they start disagreeing? I would like to remind you that this is a Nick Land versus Alexander Dugin debate. Okay? A debate implies a disagreement. Okay? So far, the title should be renamed into Nick Land, Alexander Dugin Jerkfest on pseudo-philosophy. A circle jerk treaty. Moho, I genuinely struggle tracking this conversation because none of it makes any sense. True. Secret Asian Dan says, I think it's a good opportunity to study not their logic, but their argumentative maneuvers. That is true. That is true. There's a lot of contradicting. There's a lot of contradictory thought in here, just so you know. Also, join lucyhazard.org/live, and please consider going to my throne, which I've linked somewhere above, and contributing to my microphone so that I can have good audio when I'm in Ukraine.
Interesting. Very, very pertinent point. So we prolong a bit this comparison between Faust and Mephistopheles and Adam Smith. We see a kind of ophitic understanding, or Gnostic Ophites who have revised the kind of the role of the evil in the history. So the history, the role of the history in the evil was misinterpreted according to Gnostics. So it was always wanted. It has always wanted to make evil or indifference toward the good, and at the same time, that was the kind of introduction of secret way to the good. So in that sense, I totally agree with that. So that this comparison is absolutely genius, I think, because the capitalism in that Scotland, low church, Calvinist part of Protestantism was something like evil regarding.
A persönlicher Videospiel Ostplaylist says Dugin is as coherent as XQC right now. I mean,
the common good.
Although I will remind you that Dugin has, again, a lot more influence than XQC.
Community. So that was a kind of nihilist attitude, individualistic attitude, that finally, when it was a kind of enlarged and projected on the global level, that has prepared the way to something, the kind of alternative results. So the expansion of the evil, of individualism, egoism, narcissism, nihilism.
Oh, okay, individualism is evil. There you go. I'm telling you, this is all tied to how Russia operates. The individual does not matter. Individualism is evil. If you're even thinking of being an individual, then you're selfish or an egoist, you're a narcissist, and you should just shut up and sacrifice yourself for the state, for the organic state of Russia. That is basically what this whole spiel boils down to, unironically.
Has led to some
also the so-called human rights. I saw his other debate and he used this term, so-called human rights.
Contrary conclusion. So that is very interesting. So that partly was the thought of Karl Marx, that more capitalism will prevail, the more conditions for revolution, proletarian revolution, socialism will be prepared. And the Marxists, Trotskyists, above all, they criticize the kind of Soviet or Chinese will to stop this, to say we have enough of the evil. Now we are going to establish some common good with this prepared terrain of the capitalist Mephistophelian demonic expansion. So
yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure there's nothing in Marx's writing about a demonic expansion. Okay, I'm pretty sure there is no mention of Mephistophelian demonic expansion of capitalism within Marxist writing. I think there's something about material conditions, but I'm not sure if I've ever seen any Marxist writing mentioning demonic expansion. Okay, hold on, I have to send someone some information. Where's the... oh shit. Apologies.
Stop here, and now we are coming to create something really, really good. And that failed in the case of the Soviet Union because we tried to say enough with capitalism, but we had not enough of capitalism. So we were much more traditional society. So that was the maybe the reason why we have failed with socialist experience. But what is interesting,
you have failed with the socialist experience because you have created a vanguard party that basically became a dictatorship, an oligarchical police state that did not care about the working class at all and did not implement anything even resembling socialism. That is why the socialist experiment failed in the USSR, okay? Mr. Dugin, Moho says, has this guy even read like a single page of Marx? That is an excellent question. Secret Agent Dan says, if Marx lived long enough, he would have extended his philosophy to consider demonic conditions. What form of economics does Dugin support? He supports basically Russian imperialism. He supports any sort of economy that serves the growth of the land empire.
So in China's case, capitalism it considered to be evil that could be turned into the good, and because of cultural, I think, identity. So Chinese society has succeeded in that. So using Mephistopheles as the.
How has it succeeded? Are you saying that Chinese capitalism is good? Is that what Dugin is trying to tell me?
As a kind of horse to bring to the goodness. So and the
what is the goodness? Okay, what is the goodness of the Chinese system? What? This is just rambling. Yeah, the China has used capitalism to bring the goodness. What? Fuck me. I don't even know. I'm just baffled. I'm as baffled as any of you are.
Prosperity. So I think that, but nevertheless, the main idea that capitalism is evil and that could bring the good is very, very important, I think. So we could interpret that with the Marxists or outside of Marxists. We are not obliged to follow them.
It's kind of a horse to bring to the goodness. I just cannot. This guy is considered a serious philosopher by some. What the fuck does Faust and Mephistopheles have to do with capitalism, says Persönliche Videospiel? Well, it all has to do with the satanic expansion of capitalism. Have you not read Marx? Have you never read Satan's Capital? Satan's Manifesto? Have you never read these famous works of Marx?
We could just point out that there is the logic very, very close, I think, near to that, and but idea to reduce the.
He's not gesturing towards the idiom to lead the horse to water.
Liberalism, to paleoliberalism, and to unite it with ethnical Anglo-Saxon.
He's not gonna use Anglo-Saxon idioms, okay? Those are evil. Those are fucking evil.
Saxon ambience. I think that will inscribe very well in a multipolar process. If English people, English men, prefer to
English men. What about English women and English non-binary people?
To be such, it is your decision.
You wrote to me.
It is your free will to build your society on the principles you share. So that is absolutely legitimate case, I think. The other thing, if you oblige the other to follow the same example against will, that is something completely different, I think. Maybe this idea to reduce the liberalism to its paleo origins, the paleo liberal form, it could be very, 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 very good acceptance in the world. But more exclusivist liberalism is, the better for the humanity, I think, and better for Anglo-Saxons people as well. It's your destiny, it's your culture, it's your particular response to the answer or challenge of history. And
what? This is rambling. This is your particular culture and response to the challenge of history. This means nothing. This just means nothing. I should take my hormones.
You could defend it. You could insist on that, but when it's outside some normal, organic, natural limits, it became something different. That is my point.
Sure. I mean, as a side note on there,
are you gonna disagree on anything? Ever? This is not a debate. This is not a debate. This is bullshit. This is just bullshit clickbait, okay? I came here for a debate. Genuinely, I came here for a debate. The problem with Nick Land is that he broke most taboos of his generation, except for an irrational and moral fear of anti-Semitism. He will go in circles and make a fool of himself and sacrifice his integrity to avoid offending the Jews. Oh my God. Well, now you see what type of people, I don't know, relates to his philosophy, okay? This person might be a hateful piece of shit, but you know what? He still does not hate the Jews. Got him. Moho. Also, I hate the word organic. Outside of chemistry, I have no idea what it means. And even then, it uses the chemistry definition of containing carbon-hydrogen bonds. Listen, it's just organic means, fuck, I don't know.
I think the Chinese case is very interesting because they also have an indigenous cultural matrix that is very comparable. You know, the empty summit in Chinese culture is nothing like clearly, vividly asserted as it is among Anglo-Saxons, but the Tao legalist tradition has a very strong vein of this. You know, that the best emperor is invisible to society. It is a very strong notion, and the Cantonese and the coastal sort of mercantile populations very much have this notion. The mountains are high and the emperor is far away. I mean, it's
brilliant. Thank you.
It's this notion that you have a sort of nominal deference to central authority on a massive scale, but it's precisely its virtue is found in its, at the limit, invisibility, in its...
Oh, so out of sight, out of mind. Brilliant.
In its recession from the realm of actual micro-social interaction. And I think that that's why the Anglos and the Chinese have actually practically always got on with each other very well on this level. I mean, they've probably both misunderstood each other, and
always
in terms of thinking that they were actually sharing the same cultural matrix. That's not at all something I'm suggesting, but
cultural matrix, the matrix.
It has enough analogies that it's allowed very productive commercial interaction across history, and certainly compared to others where obviously the transportation of Anglo-style individualist capitalism has just met vastly more,
as opposed to collective capitalism,
friction and resistance, understandably, from cultures where it is entirely an alien imposition.
I totally agree with your analysis about Chinese culture and what you have said about the empty summit. It's a very important concept. I think that we need to understand that empire, a classical empire, a sacred empire, was
sacred empire,
precisely defined by transcendental nature of the summit. So the summit is not filled with some positive meaning. It is open.
The sacred empire. Personliche Videospiel says there are over 1 billion people in China. Does it even mean what the fuck does it even mean with cultural matrix? There are thousands of different cultures in China. Yeah, but they're all within a single neat matrix. So fuck you. They're all can be, I don't know. It's all one matrix. The matrix.
It is open. That is the very, very, very natural sacredness. The same with empire.
The natural sacredness of culture of the empire. Mao says, I wonder what period and dynasty of China is he even talking about. The Three Kingdoms, my favorite.
Who is high, who is hidden, who is outside. So the same for the classical, traditional, philosophical empire. Empire is ruled by empty space, empty summit. Empty summit is apophatical political concept. That is very. You're absolutely right about that. So it should be held open to the spiritual influence, to be open to be filled by some extra human presence, and that is very functional element. So, and in my opinion, I have made my suggestions in my XCOM account concerning your concept of cathedral, your concept of Cartesian.
Like Chinese feudalism was actually really complex. Yes.
So I think that there maybe the much more correct concept would be for cathedral republic. A republic, it's something closed on the summit. The summit is totally closed. So it is purely profane, nothing sacred, nothing, no openness to,
holy shit,
to the high, and only self-reliance on the same immanent rational organization. So everything great comes from empire, from the situation, the political.
Moa says that is why they make, like, for great settings in dramas and stuff. That is true. XCOM account.
Concept, social, philosophical concept with empty summit. That is the key element. Empty summit, apophatical top, apophatical height of the political organization.
XCOM account.
Makes the society to make society open to the presence of transcendent influence. That is sacredness. And
are they going to disagree? If they don't disagree within the next few minutes, I'm gonna stop and take a break.
It's always profane. So kingdom, monarchy, empire could be sacred. And when you...
It could be sacred. They could have been perfect.
You choose the republic, you are closed on the top. So you put something, you put the mirror on the top. So mirror that should mirrored some these mainstream desires of this whole atomistic creatures. So that is...
Wait, but I have to check something, okay? The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth had elements of a republic. Does that mean that the people of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth were Anglo-Saxons?
A kind of what you have called the other very, 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 very genius concept, degenerative wretched. So degenerative wretched, it is precisely republic.
Degenerative wretched? What?
So because republic is self-centered, it is closed on the top. So that is important.
Closed at the top.
So when we try to save the state, the politics, we should open that. So we should, through dictature, come to the empire. Before.
So we should, through dictature, we should have dictatorship, because a republic is closed on top, and I guess a dictatorship isn't. And because a dictatorship is not closed on top, it leads to sacredness, which is lacking within a republic. Okay. All of this makes absolutely perfect sense to me. All of this makes perfect sense.
Before Republic, there is kingdom in the Roman case. After the Republic comes dictatorship, and after that, the empire. So empire is something open, as in Virgil has described it.
Oh shit, he actually is saying that. I was kidding when I just did this whole thing, but no, he actually is saying that.
So that is return to Apollo, the return of the vertical line that should, and the place for that should be preserved for that. And maybe in the early Protestantism.
Okay, if this guy just agrees again, if I hear I agree, and some form of nonsense coming from this guy instead of I disagree and we have to debate, then that'll be over of me watching. Like, I'm 37 almost minutes in, and there's no debate happening.
Pre-Protestant vision of Wycliffe, for example, or German.
He's just rambling away, rambling away. Where's the debate?
A German.
I came here for a debate, and there's no debate. Where's the debate? Can I get my debate?
Mystics as Meister Eckhart, they preserved this empty space in the heart of the human heart, in the core of the human heart. So this empty space where the Christ should be born is a kind of apophatical terrain domain. So empty summit, I think that is great concept. So I agree with that.
I mean, I was thinking that people might need a little framing in terms of it seems to me, like looking at your work and looking at these questions, that there's two sort of frames that interact. I mean, one is actually folded within the other, which is there's a theological frame and there's a critical, German particularly critical.
Okay, they still don't disagree. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Thank you. I have had enough of this debate.